Hi guys, I thought I'd make a little video because I just have an aversion to typing at the moment. It just, I don't know, I have all these like thoughts and then the thought of having to organise them and type, it just seems really a lot of effort, whereas I can just go if I do a video for you. So hi, it's basically just about how things are going and chemotherapy. A few people have just had a few like questions, well not questions, but are a bit like, oh, I don't really know what that is or what it's all about, other than it's a bit shit and you don't really need to know anything other than that. But I just thought I'd try and do a short-ish chat about my experiences, what's happening with me, the type of chemotherapy that I'm having, and just, yeah, so you don't have to watch obviously, but I just thought it might be informative for some people, anyone. Like, it sounds like I'm not naming names, some people, but just, yeah, some people might be interested, some people might not be, so yeah. So yeah, just a bit about my cancer is it's split into stages and grades, and I always get them mixed up what's for what because I'm stage 3 and grade 3. So the grading is the how quickly it's sort of spreading and how different the cells look from normal cells, and the staging is like the size and also how far it's spread. So for me, I'm like I said, I'm stage 3, which means for me it's not spread, which is like the thing that you want to. It's not spread. That is the thing that we're after. It's not spread. That's excellent. It's just that the tumour is quite large, and it's 45 millimeters at the last time of anything being scanned, and it's also attached itself to the skin at the side of my breast, which isn't great. So the part of the reason that I'm having chemotherapy before surgery, which is not the usual way around, is they want to shrink it down and shrink it away from the skin so that it's easier and better to like operate on, and then your grading is, like I say, how sort of different the cells look from other cells, which sounds a bit weird. I don't really fully understand it because I'm not a doctor person, but like, yeah, cancer is the rapid, crazy multiplication of cells. So usually your cells sort of, if they do multiply, either because it's something that's growing or like repairing itself for some reason, they grow in a very British Q way, orderly and like quite yeah, that's my word, like slowish pace. There's a word, whatever. And cancer's more like the unruly mob of just like all over the place really quickly, haphazard, which is why you get like your lumps and tumours and things. So yeah, mine's quite, the cells look different and it's quite aggressive as well. It tends to be, breast cancer tends to be aggressive in younger women just because your breast tissue is a lot more dense than it is when you're older, and so it's sort of, by the time you feel something and know that something's wrong, it's a lot further on, which is also why younger people don't get called in for like regular screenings for mammograms and things, because it's not as effective a tool of diagnosing in denser tissue. So you're as likely probably to find something by checking yourself than you are going for a regular screening for a mammogram. So yeah, check yourself, do that. You really should do that. This is how I found out about it, so you should definitely be doing it. So yeah, so that's me, that's where I'm at. I'm also estrogen, it's very estrogen responsive, so I had to stop taking my pill straight away. It may be that it's other things, other decisions are made on that in the future, like they might decide that to take my ovaries or my healthy breast or both, I don't really know, but because that means that it's much less likely to come back in the future because I don't have those sort of estrogen making things. I have a very primary school level knowledge of science, so we'll just go with it. So yeah, there's also this thing called HER2 receptors, which is something else that I'm waiting for my results on, but it just means that I'll have to have other certain drugs that I'll be taking after this little section is finished. So yeah, so that's the cancer. So the chemo, the type of chemo I'm having is called fec-t, and it's really, I think that it is for solely breast cancer, but if it's not, it's very, very widespread in the fight against breast cancer. It's split into two bits. It's the TED part, the fec part, and the T part. Basically, they are the, it's named after the drugs, so there's a drug that begins with an F, and a drug that begins with an E, and a drug that begins with a C, and then a drug that begins with a T, although I think it has another name that begins with a D as well, so that's a bit confusing. I don't know the names of those drugs, because who has time to remember shit like that? Like, not me. So if you do want to know, Google like Macmillan. The Macmillan website is brilliant. You should probably be reading that now instead of listening to me talk about it, because it's a lot more accurate and interesting. But you know, if you want to hang around, that's cool too. So yeah, the fec part, basically I go every 3 weeks for treatment, and I have 6 overall, and the first 3 are fec, and the last 3 are T. So I've had two fecs, and I've got 1 more to go, and then I'll be changing. The T is meant to be a lot more, or it is a lot more aggressive, excuse me, aggressive a drug. So the effects, like, I'll be wiped a lot more from the T than the fec. Just why did they do it? So I mean, it probably came around before Father Ted was like out as well, but still hilarious. So I'll sort of run you through the whole process and then end the video probably. So yeah, so I have my treatments fall on a Wednesday currently, and the Tuesday before I go, like the day before, I go and get my bloods taken, and they test the red cells, white cells, platelets, and something else that I can't remember. I do have a booklet with it all in, but again, I don't need to know what's happening as long as it's happening and it's working, that's fine. You'd think I would be more interested, but I was dealing with enough. So yeah, I go get that just so that they have the results ready for the next day, and as long as they're happy that so this is basically because my immune system's been battered, they're just making sure that everything's raised back up to the levels that they're happy with. So yeah, if they weren't, they would just sort of say come back in however long and test again, and then until they're sort of happy with where I'm at, and then we could do it. It's not happened yet, hopefully it won't happen, but so yeah, then on a Wednesday currently I'm having oncology appointments on the same day beforehand, just to see. Basically I said I'm on 3 fec and 3 T, but if you're not responding to the fec, they can put you on the T sooner. However, thankfully, I do seem to be, I've only had external examinations, so basically someone prodding my boobs, but thrills where you can get them. But it does seem that I'm responding. I can feel a difference, which is super, because it kind of means that putting up with all the crap, it feels a bit more worth it, because you can feel the result. It's like when you go to the gym or something, you're like, oh, it's horrible, but oh look, abs, so I'll keep doing it. I'm due to have a scan of some variety. The letter was very vague. Before my next treatment, so hopefully that'll give a more exact idea of what's happening. But I'm just going with the positive flow, because that's the best way to go. So yeah, I've been going to the oncologist appointment and then wander across to the chemotherapy ward. It's so super casual. This is what really surprised me. How casual chemo is, as in you don't really get given a time. You just sort of, I think they just must put your name on the list for the day, and you just sort of rock up and you're like, I'm here, and they're like, awesome, sit down, we'll get you sorted. and also there's 2 hospitals under one trust near me, and I was thinking of changing to the other one because it's closer for me, and I thought that would be a big procedural like thing, and they just rang the day, literally the day before my treatment, and were like, do you want to change? Just let them know, just come here instead, it's fine. And I was like, oh, super cash. So I haven't, I've stuck with my original hospital just because it's a little bit further away, but I've obviously been there, I've been there for everything apart from one scan, I think, so I like know where things are and the people a little bit, and I just thought I'd stick with what I know basically. So yeah, I rock up there, and then at the moment the fec is administered manually, so I go into a room with the nurse and get the cannula put in, which is attached to a saline drip, and then I get anti-sickness and steroids first, and then the drugs are in, it's 3 drugs, but they're in 4 cylinders and two of one. Which that particular one is bright red, and it makes me pee bright red for like about 24 hours afterwards. Depends like how much water you have to like push it through your system, but yeah, that's fun. And then yeah, the nurse just sort of manually administers them through these syringes. It's funny, there's like some of them that have like effects that can happen with, so like one of them